They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together at the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favour of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved.
It's Love Light this week, and Christians all over Oxford are praying for revival because our city needs it desperately. That's why we're hosting these talks and toasting hundreds of toasties and making thousands of baguettes, because we want to tell people about how amazing God is and how much they need him. Evangelism means longing to see God's kingdom come, that the Lord will be adding to our number daily those who are saved in Oxford. So where does social justice fit into all this? I like this passage from Acts because it shows us how our lifestyle can bring people to God. You see, the disciples didn't just preach the gospel, they lived it. And living the gospel means sharing our possessions and giving to those in need. And only then will we see revival. The early church got this, and I think it's something that we often forget. See, what many of my friends hate most about the church is its hypocrisy. How can we preach spiritual freedom when 29 million people are held in physical slavery across the world? And how can we talk about God's glorious riches if we're ignoring the homeless person who we walk past each day? Academic answers are not enough. The best argument that we can give for the credibility of the gospel is to live it out in our lives. As Jesus said, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven." George Armstrong Young was a British missionary in China, and in the 1930s he faced famines and war, as well as the new challenge of atheistic communism. In his memoirs, he challenges the Western Church's approach to mission, asking, "Are we Christians prepared to follow out the teaching of Christ as relentlessly as these communists follow out the teaching of Marx? Do we blaze with flaming anger at injustice and cruelty and the exploitation of the weak? Are we the champions of the poor and oppressed? Are we freeing the enslaved, feeding the hungry, healing the sick, caring for the refugees, saving the lost? For only so can God's kingdom come and his will be done on earth." Oxford is thankfully not communist China, but the culture is similarly atheistic, and it's quick to notice hypocrisy, and also quick to judge Christians on the basis of our actions and not just our words. There's a book about 7 students who were involved in the foundation of their Christian union at another university. They also went on to become missionaries in China, but while at Cambridge, they not only devoted themselves to meeting regularly in their colleges and to sharing the gospel with their friends, but crucially, they went out to the slums in poorer parishes and did social work there. You see, for them, like many other missionaries, evangelism went hand in hand with social justice. We're called to love people as God first loved us, and preaching the gospel loudly and boldly is definitely one way of doing this. But pursuing God's heart for justice is another way. So this week, as we think about how we're going to share the gospel with words with our friends, let's also be thinking about how our lifestyle reflects God's heart for justice. Because when we break bread and share God's love with the world, the Lord adds to our number daily.